Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. If you're here, you're most likely interested or at least curious about going to India. I wore my Indian garb today in order to get us in the mood, and wanted to give you a walkthrough of what it's like to go on an India trip with Dr. Pillai, hosted through the Pillai Center. If you've been to India before, this experience will be a little bit different. And if you've never been to India, fantastic. So we're going to take this journey together. I'm going to walk us through a little PowerPoint presentation and tell you what happens on each of the trips and what's included, when the deadlines are, and at the end, then I'll take some questions. So I need to open up my PowerPoint here and just share my screen, and then we will walk through that. So while I'm doing this, just a little bit about myself. So I have been going to India for over 15 years now with Dr. Pillai. And so my incredible experience is truly life-changing, truly transformational. And I wanted to share that with you as well, but I'll get to that. So here we go on our PowerPoint presentation. So we're going to talk about what it's like to travel to mystical India with Dr. Pillai. My name is Gina. My spiritual name is Jay Radha. And as I mentioned, been going to India for over 15 years. And the experiences that I've had it's like taking a pill. When you go to India and you come back, you're a different person. I don't know how else to say it. That has been my experience from the beginning. There's always something that gets triggered, consciousness that gets changed, where at the end of this trip, you're not the same person you were when you arrived. So the agenda for today, we're going to walk through the 3 different locations that we will be, that you'll be going to in India, and what's included, and then the trip options and Q&A. So first, when you go on a trip with Dr. Pillai, everything is crafted in a way that is meant for your personal transformation. Dr. Pillai has said, this is a pilgrimage, not a picnic. So when you go, it is about the purpose of transformation. And the first place you arrive is Chennai. That is kind of the landing place. You fly into Chennai. Then immediately the next day, we travel down to Rameshwaram, which is a little island at the very tip, the very bottom of India. And it is where Dr. Pillai was born. It is known as the world's premier karma dissolving vortex. And interestingly enough, he decided to incarnate there and spend the first 18 years of his life at that location in order to absorb the energy there so that he himself could help dissolve people's karma. So he'll say, he said that the one city power, that magical power that I have is to be able to change people's destiny. And it is because, one of the reasons is because of his incarnation in Rameshwaram, taking birth there, spending the first 18 years of his life there so that he could absorb that superpower. So it's in and of itself, being there with Dr. Pillai opens up the realms of karma dissolving energy. And then on top of that, you'll be going through 22 wells of, there's a temple, and there are 22 wells there that dissolve a different type of karma. Don't ask me all the different types. I don't have them memorized, but you could probably Google it. And it's like this, I don't know, it's like going to Six Flags and you come out all wet but it was a thrilling experience, except that your life is different after you leave. So you enter this temple. It's this whole production. It's early in the morning. And literally you go to each of these stations where there are wells, where there are these guys pulling water up into a bucket and then dumping it on your head. And then you do that 22 times and walking throughout this temple, totally soaked, but you feel amazing. You're in prayer. And you can when I experience, I just feel under my feet the power of the temple, and then immersing and then being immersed in the karma dissolving water, it is like nothing else that I've ever experienced. You get to the end, we change into clean, dry clothes, and then go into the temple itself, where you receive darshan, or energy transmission from the deities there. And it is a very powerful Shiva Lingam. Rameshwaram, the story behind it is that when Rama killed the demon king, Ravana, he had to do penance because he killed someone. So, of course, he had to do penance to Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is the one who can dissolve karma. So he went to Rameshwaram. He didn't, and it's close to Sri Lanka, where the demon killing took place. So he went to Rameshwaram, the closest place, before getting back into the India mainland. And there was no Shiva Lingam there. There was no temple there. So he took sand and built the Shiva Lingam himself in order to do the Abhishekam and do the ritual in order to propitiate Lord Shiva, to ask for forgiveness for killing the demon. And so this is the Shiva Lingam that you'll see. The Shiva Lingam that you see is the one that Rama created from sand and worshipped Shiva Lingam to dissolve the karma of killing the demon king thousands of years ago. So it's an incredible temple. Another thing that you'll experience in that same temple is a shrine for Patanjali. As most of you know, Patanjali is the father of yoga. He has created the Yoga Sutras. Dr. Pillai has done a course on it. He's done many teachings on it. He himself has integrated very much with Patanjali. So the energy is very strong in Dr. Pillai. And then going to that location, you can sit. There's a place where you sit. It's behind a Nataraj statue, and you can feel Patanjali. And just meditating there is incredible. So you'll have an opportunity to sit and meditate there as well. And that's all part of the same temple complex. The temples, some of them are very large. So we can easily spend hours at a temple. And in this case, that's sometimes the case for Rameshwaram when we go through this whole journey on the day. So let's go to our next location, Kumbakonam. So and then I believe we are experiencing Dr. Pillai's birthday in Rameshwaram. So not only are you going to be at this sacred location, it'll also be his birthday when we celebrate his very powerful day in his birthplace. After a couple days in Rameshwaram, traveling there, and we head on up to Kumbakonam. Kumbakonam is known as the largest collection of temples in the world. And I had the honor of spending a couple of months there, and it is really incredible. It doesn't get old. You can go in any direction and there are temples. But what's really amazing is that Dr. Pillai personally selects the most powerful temples in order for us to have the most important activations in our own self. He assesses the people who are there and then determines the time and feels out like what's right, where should we go, and then determines typically that day what we're going to do. So when you sign up, you'll get an agenda or an itinerary, but it's kind of just a suggestion. Because he's actively involved with where we're going to go, what we're going to do, and assesses what this group needs. Every group is different. So he knows, he reads into you, and he delivers what is best for everyone on this particular trip. So that's kind of how it goes in Kumbakonam. There will be seminars and temple trips every day, and sometimes you just don't know what that agenda is going to look like until you wake up in the morning, or perhaps the night before if you're lucky. But that's what's also exhilarating about going on this location. You're putting your faith into Dr. Pillai, which is always a good thing. And then of course he's delivering always the most amazing experience. Tiruvannamalai. So the first trip there's going to be 3 trips, and I'll explain this afterwards. The first, what we're calling the birthday trip because it includes his birthday, is trip 1, and that ends at Kumbakonam. So you'll go to Rameshwaram and Kumbakonam, and then you'll go back to Chennai, fly home. For the folks who are staying for the full trip experience, there's the Tiruvannamalai, which is trip number 2. And this is unique because it's the home of Arunachala. If you've never heard of Arunachala, I suggest that you look that up and do some research. It is the mountain, it's called the Mountain of Fire. And it's because of, it is known that Lord Shiva has taken an incarnation, he takes a form there in the form of fire and in that mountain. And at the very top of the mountain is a temple. And we will be going to that temple, but you'll also be staying at a hotel nearby where you can view the mountain. You can see a picture of Dr. Pillai in front of that mountain. You can view the mountain from the hotel. And Dr. Pillai will be having seminars at that hotel, and then, the proximity is amazing. So you'll be able to be in darshan, receiving blessings and teachings in this immensely powerful spot. And oftentimes he'll have us go out and just view the mountain from the hotel grounds. And there's a kind of like a little rooftop type thing where you can go and look at the mountain and sit and meditate for as long as you like. The staff is amazing. They know, what we like to do. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel. And it's just magical. I don't know how else to experience it or to explain it. When you're in the vortex of this mountain, it has a karma dissolving effect. And because, as I mentioned, Shiva is the archetype for dissolving karmas, right? So everything you do there is magnified. Dr. Pillai is currently staying there, and he just made a video a day or so ago saying that he's been there, it's the longest time he's been there, for 7 straight days. And he's buying a home there. So it's his new favorite place to be. And he is able to tap into new levels of wisdom for himself that he'll be teaching in the mystery school, separate topic. But just to give you an idea of how powerful this location is, that he himself is going through even more evolution and transformation, that he's being revealed new teachings to him in his meditations, and just by being there. And that is what you get access to just by being there. That's the beauty of this trip, is like, you don't have to bring any of your mental baggage. You just arrive and you just follow the script of like where to go, and then it happens. Transformation is going to happen. So that's what I love about going to India. Kind of can't avoid it. And I'm an evolution junkie, so. All right, so what's included? When you arrive in India, everything's included, but you need to pay for your own flight. So you sign up, you register with us, and you purchase your flight. And that's your only 2 expenses other than your trip money or, personal, if you want to buy personal items on the trip. So what's really amazing about Pillai Center trips is that we take care of you. From the moment you land in Chennai in India, we pick you up, we take you to your hotel, we feed you, we give you a room, your rooms are included. The tips at the hotels for your baggage, travel, things like that are all included. Tips for meals are all included. The only money you have to pull out is if you want to purchase something additional, like something sent to your room, for example, versus going and eating with the group, which is an included meal. So we have taken the guesswork out of, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I eat? All of that is just removed from your consciousness so that you can be present inside of the trip. And when you don't have to worry about your personal well-being of where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, where you're going to eat, all of that, guess what? It opens up a whole dimension of, I just get to be present. I just get to be present. And that's what we really give you, the opportunity to be present. So what's included? The seminars, meditations, all the power spot visits wherever we go, double room occupancy. So if you want a single room, you definitely need to let us know ASAP. And it does have an additional cost. I don't know what that is, but if you write to office@pillaicenter.com, they'll let you know. But everything is double room occupancy. Single rooms book up really fast. So like I said, if you are interested, you need to let us know right away. Transportation inside of India. So remember how I said we're going from all these different locations? That's all included. Buses, airfare within India is included. All the temple fees, of course, that all costs. And whenever the priest inside of each temple does a ritual, it's customary to give them an offering. We take care of all of that. So don't ever take your money out when you're with the group and participating in group activities. And then if you sign up early before November 20th, you receive 1 month package of kind of a preparation. We wanted to help prepare your soul level for going on this trip by giving you some additional karma removal techniques or technology, spiritual technology, which is done on your behalf in India. And that includes having 11 coconuts smashed on 14th moons, which is a powerful time for Ganesha, another 14th moon for Ganesha Fire Lab, and 2 13th moon hydration ceremonies that are for karma busting, so pradosham rituals. Now just note any questions you may have, and I'll get to them at the end. So as I mentioned, what else is included is just peace of mind. You just arrive, you just buy your ticket, you get yourself to India, and we take care of everything else until we drop you off at the airport. And then you're on your own till you get back home. And that allows you to be inside of the spiritual journey and not having to worry about anything else. Sometimes people ask about spending money. Yeah, there are some opportunities to go shopping. So that is something you might want to bring as well. And sometimes people ask how much. I'll typically say like $500 perhaps. But if you activate your credit card for international travel, you should be fine. Sometimes people ask about traveler's checks. I never do that, but you might want to. Totally up to you. So here's a walkthrough of the trips themselves. As I mentioned, there are 3 trip options. It might be a little confusing, and this is why I want to really clear this up. Trip 1, you arrive on January 30th, and you depart on February 6th. So when we say 8-day retreat, it's your arrival day and your departure day, okay? So you arrive the first day, and you spend the night in Chennai. Depending on what time you arrive on that day, you could go shopping, you could buy some Indian clothes, or just shop in Chennai. That's your free day, depending on when you arrive. The next day we travel right down to Rameshwaram, and that is a flight from Chennai to, I forget which city, and then there's a bus from that city to Rameshwaram, because there's no flights directly into Rameshwaram. It's too tiny. Then we experienced Dr. Pillai's birthday on February 1st. We have meditations, temple visits, and day 4, likely there'll be a seminar in the morning and then travel to Kumbakonam. That's a pretty long ride. I think it's about 10 hours on a bus. So then once you get to Kumbakonam, you'll be doing the retreats there that include seminars and power spots in Kumbakonam. So a little bit about the bus rides. We'll be traveling a bit, right? So these bus rides become part of the transformational journey. You'll have a bus leader, and that bus leader will help lead chants, engagement on the buses. Basically, we do chanting on the buses to keep you active in the mindset of being conscious. Imagine spending 10 hours chanting. I mean, that in and of itself is amazing. But when you're trapped on a bus and everyone's chanting, you kind of can't escape it, right? So the buses themselves are a journey, and you have to take it with stride. And I've been on trips, not this trip because we've done this so many times. It's very clear riding, but we've been on trips where the roads got destroyed in the recent rain, and now a 5-hour bus ride was becoming a 15-hour bus ride, and it was bumpy and uncomfortable, and you just take everything with positivity. That's my biggest advice to you to go to India, is just everything's perfect. Just remember, everything's perfect when you're in India, no matter what happens, no matter how imperfect it seems. So trip 1, Rameshwaram, and then to Kumbakonam, temple visits, meditation, seminars. As I mentioned before, double room occupancy, transportation, bus fees, all of that. And then the 1-month karma removal package if you sign up by November 30th. The price, the early bird price for this trip is $3,450. If you want to make payments, and you have to register by November 20th in order to receive the early bird price. If you want to make payments, you have to make your first payment of $1,850 by November 30th. Then the second payment is due on January 5th. And that's the full price of the trip. We're actually, last year, India went through some big changes that you might have heard about their currency being changed, some shifts, and there was a big tax increase. So we absorbed the majority of that tax increase in the trip. We did have to pass on a smaller percentage onto you. So the trips are a little bit more expensive this year, but they're actually, we're taking on more expenses on our end in order to keep it as affordable as possible to you. So basically we're making less money on the trips and you're paying just a little bit more because we really wanted to make this available to everybody. It's our priority to help you go to India and have a life-changing experience. So trip number 2, you arrive in Kumbakonam with the rest of the group, but you're only there for a day, overnight. And then I believe it's either 1.5 days or something to that effect. And then you travel on from Kumbakonam to Tiruvannamalai. So you'll have an opportunity to go to a few temples in Kumbakonam. Then travel on to Tiruvannamalai, and that's where you'll be absorbed in the mountains energy and experience the temple visit, as well as the seminars with Dr. Pillai and being able to view the mountain. You'll stay there for 6 days, or not entirely. You'll stay there for about 3 or 4 days, and then you'll travel back to Chennai. Again, same things apply, double room occupancy, your trip fees and all that stuff, temple fees are all included. This price is $2,550 for your 6-day experience, or 2 payments of $1,350. Again, November 20th is the cutoff for the early bird pricing, and November 30th is the cutoff for your payment plan. Now, if you're all in, you're like, if I have to travel to India, I'm just gonna stay for the whole time, which is what I recommend and what most people do, because it's a day travel from the US, like a full day. It's like 24, 25 hours if you're on a good flight. So if you're just gonna go for it, then you're on both trips, and it's called the full trips experience, arriving January 30th and departing February 10th. And I don't really need to explain because everything I just said is included in this trip. And the full price for this one is $5,150, or 2 payments of $2,800. So if you are ready to purchase, then that's the link where you go. Let us know if you have questions. If you're watching this on replay, you can write to office@pillaicenter.com. I'm going to reiterate the dates here because it's very important. The early bird pricing ends on November 20th. This is not a flexible date because we must purchase your flights within India. They book up very fast. This is a perfect time to go to India because the weather is amazing. It's perfect. So this is high seasons for tourism. Hotels get booked up, flights get booked up, and we don't want you on different flights. That would be chaotic. So we must book your flight and we must confirm your hotel rooms. Therefore, November 20th early bird is not negotiable. We must hear from you if you're going to receive the early bird price for that. Then the payment plan option, which ends on November 30th, that gives you an opportunity to pay half by November 30th and then the other half by January 5th. This gives us an opportunity to make sure we know who you are and get you on these the flights and what have you. Then full price registration for the trip ends on December 15th. Again, we really need to know, and the early bird pricing is such that because when we book earlier, we get better prices on the flights, right? Just like anywhere, when you book earlier, you get better prices. So that's why we can't extend early bird pricing beyond November 20th because we need to purchase your flights, but we are able to get you into the trip as long as you register by December 15th. And December 15th gives us an opportunity to book your hotel and your domestic flights within India. And the trip starts on January 30th. And that's where all the magic begins. All the magic really begins when you decide to go. Many of you know this, and whenever you register for an event or a program, the journey begins with your commitment to it. And I invite you to watch and see what happens in your life when you do make that commitment. So I will now take some questions. Let's see. Ambika, can you? I need the viewing page to see my. Oh, got it. All right, let's see if there are any questions here. If we join from India, then our flight to Chennai is taken care of. If we, right, if you're in India, you just need to get to Chennai because that's where we'll be leaving from Chennai to travel down to, well, on a flight, internal flight, down to Rameshwaram. Is it possible to receive a Nadi astrology reading at the venue if they're interested in receiving a reading? Yes, good question. So what happens is, this is a great question because it's such a good idea. And this is what I've done in the past. If you're going all the way to India, having a Nadi astrology reading in person with the reader, where you get to see your leaves and answer the questions real time is so magical. Anyway, you would let us know in advance that this is what you'd want to do because we'd have to book you to come to, you just need to arrive in time to go and see the Nadi reader in Chennai. It's in our office, so it's not far. Do the reading when you arrive, because then after the trip, by then we'll have translated it and know what remedies you need to do. And at the end of the trip, you tack on maybe 2 more days to do your remedy temples. And a lot of people do it, and I do recommend it. Thank you for bringing that up, Judy. But you do have to let us know so that we can help prepare your trip. We're going to customize that trip for you. Someone's saying, I'm getting for Kumbakonam starting the 6th. I would like to arrive the day before for jet lag. Who can catch me at Chennai airport and where can I sleep? If you are it sounds like you're part of trip number 2. And yeah, you just let us know. You write to office@pillaicenter.com and we arrange that for you. Maheshwari is someone you will be dealing with if you have any special arrangements. She's incredible. She is Indian, lives in India. She's been doing our, coordinating on trips for as long as she's worked for us, probably 20 years. So you'll be in good hands. So if there are any questions regarding special arrangements, then once you write to us and let us know, then we'll be able to take care of all of that. Okay, let's see, any other questions? All right, here's a question. Are you talking about the $5,000 trip? Is it possible to receive the benefits from the $2,500 trip? Yeah, of course. All these trips that I mentioned, basically there's trip 1 and 2, and then there's the combination of 1 and 2. You're going to receive benefits in any of them. So you should pick what works best for your schedule and your budget, okay? You should pick what's best for your schedule and your budget. You are going to receive benefits no matter which trip you go on. Paul is asking how many days is the trip. So I mentioned that, and trip 1 is 8 days, trip 2 is 6 days, and trip 3 is 12 days. Yes, the 8-day trip is $34.50. That's the trip 1. What's the temperature like in the hotels? You can control, just like any other hotels, you can control the temperature in your room. The temperature throughout the hotel is pretty chilly, just like kind of a regular, like any regular hotels. So buses, they tend to fluctuate. So we recommend that you bring like a wrap or a sweatshirt to use on the buses just in case it gets chilly. Sometimes we can't control the we put it on its lowest ventilation on the buses and it's still very cold. So the weather in India around that time is pretty mild. It's like 80s and it's humid though. So you will get warm when you're outside in India, high 80s or mid to high 80s. And then in the temples, it can get warm. So there are rules for what you can wear. So women, it's best to, well, everyone is best to wear Indian attire when you're going to the temple. At the seminars, it's fine to wear Western clothes. But when you're at the temples, no sleeveless shirts for women, no shorts for men, no shorts for women either. So we want to respect the culture and we don't want to draw unnecessary attention to us. Oftentimes we look Western, so we will already be drawing attention, but we want to be respectful and honor the clothing, the cultural clothing options. Can the hotels accommodate American appliances and electronics? Yes, and you have to bring your own converter, something that plugs into the wall and converts to whatever your appliance is needing. I always do it, it's fine. You can bring your computer, you can bring hair things. They will have a blow dryer, but if you need anything else, can bring it yourself. If you had to choose and you've been to some of the places on the trip, would you go back to some of those same places, or would you go on trip too? I would always go back to all of them. It's because it may seem like the same place, but every time you go there, you're different. And then that location meets you at who you are and then gives you what you need and really does like an internal cleansing and kind of psychic surgery on you. So the locations are always magical, and I go back to them. I do go back to them, and I would keep going back to them over and over. No, it's a great question, Judy. I've been informed for the single room is an extra charge of $650 in case I would like to share a room. Is there anybody female that is interested? Okay, so Nikki, it's automatic that you get into the double room, and we will be putting you with together with people on the trip. We don't know you all, so we're just matching you up with the same gender. If you happen to know who you want to room with, then by all means, let us know, and we're happy to, we'll put you together. What we also do is we create a private Facebook group for those going on the trip, and then we can help. And let's say there's anybody who knows each other who's going on the trip, then we can also, you can match yourselves up and let us know who would like to room together. We don't give out the names of the hotel until you register, because people sometimes show up uninvited and unannounced, and that's really not an appropriate thing to do. And so we don't reveal the hotels until you register. So you'll get a full itinerary, hotels, transportation schedule, contact information, so that you can let your loved ones know exactly where you are and how to contact you. So that all gets given to you once you register. But unfortunately, we have had some people just show up, and it's not cool. Don't do that. Don't do that. Which is the best airfare route to India? It depends on where you're coming from. It depends on where you're coming from. Like from the US, from the East Coast or the West Coast. From the East Coast, you go through Europe typically. From the West Coast, you can go through Asia. But it also depends on how long you want to sit on a flight. For example, I'm on the West Coast, and if I wanted to go through Asia, my flight to Asia is 16 hours, and then I have a couple hour layover, and then it's maybe a 4 hour into India. But I don't really want to sit on a 16 hour. I'd rather do a 10 hour to Europe and a 9 hour to India. So it really is up to you. You just need to check out flights and see which one is best for you. Someone's asking if we can visit a ISKCON Krishna temple. Sometimes that happens in an impromptu way, but typically not on this type of trip, because there aren't as many in this region. The ISKCON temples are typically not in Tamil Nadu, which is where we're going, because Krishna is more popular in other regions of India. But if you want to stay an extra day and travel there on your own, you're welcome to do that. But it's not something we would be hosting, most likely. What kind of food do they serve at the hotels? Good question. A mixture. It depends on the hotel. So when you arrive in Chennai, you're at a 5-star, more modern, and it's a city hotel. Chennai is a big city, Madras. And so there'll be international cuisine there. And we always have you at a buffet. So typically there'll be American food, they'll try some other international foods, and then they'll have Indian foods. Of course, the Indian food is what they specialize in, so it typically tastes better. But if you're hankering for some macaroni, they have that too, typically. So yeah, so there's a variety. But once we get to the, in Kumbakonam, for example, the hotel there it's what's it called? It's a boutique hotel, and it is very rural. It's so amazing. The Indian food there is really good. They do try their hand at some international, but it's not that great. So basically, you'll most likely be eating Indian food for the whole time there. But they definitely, you know, sometimes you'll get like French fries, and those are pretty good. So there's a blend. How do you find Indian garb for the trips? Do you have suggestions? Yeah, so typically in most cities, there'll be like a little India, New York City, LA, those are the big places. But you'll want to just check out in your area where you could find little India, and you can go shopping there. It'll probably be more expensive. If you arrive early on the 30th, then typically you can go shopping in Chennai, and that's what I have done in the past, and get your Indian clothes there, much less expensive. You can also order them online. When you order them online, just make sure you see the measurements, because small, medium, large is different in different countries. So just make sure you know the actual size that will fit you when you order them online. And what I recommend, there's like salwars where it kind of looks like this in the top, and it's either short sleeve or long sleeve. I recommend the short sleeve just because it'll be hot. And then it comes with like either a tighter pant, but with a longer top for the women, or a baggy pants, and then a shawl or a scarf. So that type of outfit is perfect for women. For men, there's, I forget what they're called. They're the little, kind of looks like a pajama top and bottoms, and you get them in light colors, and you can do your laundry there, so you can get a few and then just have laundry done. I try not to do laundry just because it becomes like we're moving quite a bit. So unless you put your laundry in the day you arrive, you'll get it back the next day or 2 days from then. You don't want to end up leaving your clothes somewhere, unless, of course, you want to get rid of that karma. Fab India is a nice store to, yes, Fab India is great. It's a little more pricier. It's pricier, but it's really, really good quality. How much more is a single room, Paul? Well, Nikki just told me it was $650. I didn't know that, but because you have to write in, but it looks like it's $650, and I'm not sure if that's for the full trip or a partial trip. How long is the flight from Newark, New Jersey to India? It's pretty far. you should just. It's probably about 20 hours to get there from Newark. 22 hours. Yeah. So because of just layovers, it really depends on which flight you select. So go to your favorite place to book flights, Cheap Air or Travelocity or things like that, and see what type of options they have. And you'll be able to get a quick assessment of how much they cost and the schedules. I've taken Qatar Air, British Airlines, Lufthansa. There's a lot of them, and they're all Singapore Air. They're all pretty good. So someone just said she lives in Houston, and there's an Indian business area. There are several stores that sell Indian clothes. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you can get them before you leave, and that's great. And yes, Judy, it's cheaper to buy them in India, but if you're arriving really late on the 30th, we're leaving the next morning, so you won't have time. You'll definitely want to get some before you arrive. Judy, that question for admin work is Ambika can answer that, or that we can take offline. Are we staying outside of Rameshwaram in the same hotel we stayed in 2014? Probably. I don't remember 2014, but there's a new hotel that was recently built in Rameshwaram. So if it's the new one, then yes. If it's the old one, then no. If you separate your flights and leave a little early, you can rest between flights in the night. Yeah, you can. It also prolongs your journey. I'm someone who likes to just go for it, but definitely if you want to stay longer in a location on your layover, it's an option. Any other questions? We have on the website, we do have a travel suggestion list. So a hat, sunscreen, clothes for your seminars, clothes for temples. So remember, you don't need that many temple clothes because you can wear your Western clothes to the seminars with Dr. Pillai. You'll want to bring, oftentimes the bathrooms are in the woods. And trust me when I say that's a better option than going to a bathroom along the way at some little village. So you want to be prepared for that. And what we suggest is having like a little bag or fanny pack of some sort where you have your personal items, which include tissues for your bathroom stop, and then some hand sanitizer for when you're done. We provide you some snacks on the bus, but you're also welcome to bring your favorites with you. And what else is fun to do? Writing, like, so if you want to take notes, kind of journal. I love to journal my India trips, and because things will happen and then the mind says, oh, I'll remember that, but then the mind doesn't remember that. So it's really good to write down your experiences and along the way and just go back and relive that beautiful experience you had. What else? We give you temple socks that you can use if you would like to wear them when you go into a temple. Those are provided. We give you like a little care package when you arrive. It includes some snacks. It includes temple socks. It includes, what else does it include? Oh, little backpack that you'll need when you go to Rameshwaram to change your clothes into. Yeah, we've thought of everything. Trust me, we've been doing this for 20 years. We've thought of everything. So you're so taken care of. Of course, you can bring a camera, definitely. The only time you are going to be without anything is when you go into the temple in Rameshwaram, because you'll be soaking wet. And they actually don't allow cameras into that temple at all. A lot of temples will restrict pictures inside the temple because they don't want you to take pictures of the sanctum sanctorum, which is the main area where the deity lives. It's just not, it's not a sacred thing to do, to take a picture of that part of the temple. But outside of that, outside of going into the temple itself, you are able to take pictures. So, I mean, you can just do it on your phone if you or a camera. You won't need, I mean, we don't provide you a way to use your cell phone in India. So you would need to arrange that with your provider or however that works for you. For Dr. Pillai's birthday, what do you recommend that we give him? I would love to be there for the entire time. I have been thinking about this trip every day since I received the email about it. Well, that's good news. It means it's haunting you, which means there's something in your soul that really is calling for this experience. The best thing you can give Dr. Pillai on his birthday is to donate to Tripura, which is his, it's basically like his heart outside of his body. It is the foundation that gives children opportunity to change and grow and have a new destiny. And that is the best thing you can give him on his birthday. He doesn't accept personal gifts. He doesn't want to receive like physical items. So he'll often say, no, I don't take gifts. So yes, a donation to Tripura on his birthday is the best thing you can give him. And then on his birthday, we do usually like a little celebration. We'll decorate the stage really nicely and kind of overdo that. And because birthdays are powerful times for everyone. And when you're an enlightened master, it's an even more powerful time for him. And then being at his birthplace, another significant aspect of his power that's emanating from him. So when you're in his presence on that day, it is really a very powerful vibration that is really, it's going through your entire being. So we like to honor him and kind of bring some more flowers and let him know that, we're honoring his presence in our life, his blessings, and his grace. The program of the last day includes lunch. That means we'll stay till that time, last day there. Last day, is there anything that I can do till my departure? That is at 22. Okay, so what happens on the last day is depends on what your last day is. Either you're on trip 1 or 2, and so the trip 1, you'll be leaving from Kumbakonam, and you'll have either breakfast or lunch, and then depart and go to Chennai. And then the last day, trip 2, you'll be leaving from Tiruvannamalai and then departing. So we try to get everyone back. Usually flights are in the evening, just like yours, Nikki. So we have everyone back by a certain time, whenever the earliest flight of that group is. Usually that's around 5 p.m. or something in Chennai. And then we have changing rooms. So you'll share them with some people though, but it gives an opportunity if you want to, and if you have time, to go into one of these changing rooms, take a shower, change, get fresh for your long flight back home. So there is, typically you'll have enough to do, because once you get to Chennai, you'll also have an opportunity to have dinner, shower, change, and then get to the airport. And the airport is about a half-hour, I think, ride from the hotel. So you'll have plenty to do. Does the 3450 or the 2250 trip include Shiva power spots of Arunachala? So the 2250 trip number 2, is at Tiruvannamalai, and that is where Arunachala is, the mountain of fire. But trip one, which costs 3450, is Rameshwaram and Kumbakonam. You do not yet get to Arunachala, okay? But if you do both trips, then you'll be either trip 2 or both trips, you'll be at Arunachala. Any other questions? And just to give you an idea of the savings that you'll have, the full price of the birthday trip is $3,700, but when you register early, it's $3,450. The trip 2 is $2,700, and when you register early, it's $2,550. And then the combo, or both trips, is $5,600, and when you register early, it is $5,150. So you save $450 on the combo trip if you register early. Mosquito spray and toilet paper is a must. Please bring it with you. Yes, Jessie. Jessie's been to India. Yeah, mosquito spray is very important. They have toilet paper there, so you don't need to bring it, but I bring little tissue packs, like little single, you can get those little single tissue packs because it's tiny, and then you just put them in your bag, and so when you go to relieve yourself in the woods, it's very handy. You don't need to bring a roll of toilet paper, you just need to bring those little things. Any other questions? You do need a visa. You need a passport, that's obvious. And you do need a visa to get into India. Nowadays, India has given an opportunity, excuse me, an opportunity to get a visa when you arrive. So that is something you can do. Let's say it's last minute, you don't heed my advice and register right away, and you wait till later, then you can get it upon arrival in India. But in my opinion, it's just as easy to send away for it in advance, and then this way you've got everything covered and you don't need to worry. Are we walking around the mountain? That's a really good question. Excuse me, I just need a drink. We used to be able to walk around the mountain, and then an incident happened and they closed it. So we are not allowed to walk around the mountain. So the short answer is no, we can't walk around the mountain. We will be driving around the mountain and we'll have the opportunity to get, excuse me, get very close, but we can't any longer, unfortunately. Any other questions? No more questions? I think there might be a delay on the chat. Yeah, go ahead. Q, I see you say hi, but I don't see any questions. Question is, do you know if we will be walking to the top of Shiva Power Spot at Arunachal? Is it possible to get a bus ride there? Oh no, you won't be walking up there. You'll be getting a bus ride. None of this is so strenuous. I mean, if you have health concerns, you will not be expected to do anything strenuous. I mean, pretty much you'll be walking from a bus to a temple. And that's the extent of the exercise or exertion that you'll need to expend. So don't worry about that. If you have a special situation in terms of health, then do let us know, and we'll just make sure that we can accommodate you. Yes, you need both a visa and a passport. And so you can get a tourist visa. It's pretty easy. You just send the application. Will Babaji be with us on the trip, all day on the trip, or will he just be for meditations? Both. So he will be going on most of the temple visits. Some of them he doesn't go to. Mohini will go and bring the group. But most of them he goes to, or I should say some of them, maybe half, okay. He'll go on, and then he sees us in the seminar. You're welcome. Yeah, don't worry there won't be any, hiking or anything crazy. Baba himself doesn't, do anything that adventurous, so we won't be doing it either. There was a time when we did walk around the mountain, and that was really fun, and it was optional. It's just only for people who wanted to be able to have that experience. Now we just look at it and meditate, or drive around it in the bus. So there are different places to get your visa. And you can go to your local, I think, Staples or Post, or I forget where, but I just go online and search for a way, visa applications, and you can go through one of those services. What's the difference with all these temples? Every temple has a different purpose, a different energy, and a different reason that it was built. And so it has thank you, Judy. Yeah, Truvisa is one of them. It has a different, a cleansing power. So it can be for a planet, and every planet has its own energy, and then kind of like a remedy for you. It can be Lord Shiva, but then there's many different, if there's a lot of Shiva temples, but every one of them has a different specialty. And when you go to that one, you receive the blessing of that specialty energy. So yeah, they're all different, and they all have different powers to them. And Dr. Pillai selects them based on what he feels is the most powerful, and also what he feels that the group needs at the time. Yeah, so I'm gonna go put the packing list there, which is great. Yes, so the temples do different things. I mean, mostly you're receiving some sort of empowerment and some sort of cleansing, but it's depending on the temple, it is specific to that power that has been in that temple. There's also this really beautiful Rama temple on Rameshwaram that we typically go to. Baba likes to walk up and down this road that connects the temple to the main area. And it's like between water. So you're basically walking between the waterways. And a couple of times I've seen him do this. We were going to go to a different temple and he's like, no, let's just go there and walk. And so for whatever reason, at sunset, we walk with him from the temple to the mainland. So you never know what type of blessings, and it's always amazing. And like I said, just remember, everything's perfect. No matter what happens, it's all perfect. It's meant to do whatever it needs to do for each one of us. What kind of coverings for our feet can we wear in the temples? Can we wear something with rubber? No, you cannot. You can only wear socks or barefoot. What happens if a woman goes on a trip and her menstrual cycle begins? Will she not be permitted to go to the temples? That's a really good question. There are some temples so the short answer is there are some temples that you will not be able to go into if you're on your menstrual cycle. And there are some where you can go to. So it really depends on where we're going and how strict either that being is inside of the temple or the temple itself. So it can get dicey. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you do start your period during the trip or before. How long will it take to get a visa? That all depends on which service you go through. I think you can expedite them as well. You have to change your license. It's not about your license. It's really about, your name change. Yeah, it's about your passport. So all they care about when you get a visa is your passport. The description of each trip tells you if Rameshwaram is included, right? Yes, and I can just tell you, trip 1 is where you go to Rameshwaram. Trip 2, you do not go to Rameshwaram. But if you go on both trips, obviously trip 1 is included, so you'll be in Rameshwaram. Yeah, so about the name change, like I said, if you're changing your name mid-December, then you need to get your visa. You can expedite your visa. That usually takes a couple weeks if you expedite it, 3 weeks. I'm sorry, expedite your passport. If you're changing your name on your passport, then you'll have to get your visa. So you get your passport first and then you get your visa. You should be fine if you're able to start that in mid-December and have everything by the end before you leave for the trip. But what happens is typically flights to India, they don't want you to purchase your flight unless you have a valid passport that's valid for 6 months. So I'm sorry, and the visa won't let you get a visa unless your passport is valid for at least 6 months. So I would look into right now, call one of the visa agencies and ask about your situation. What do we do if we miss out and we can't go on all 2 locations in India? Well, it's not about, if you can go on one trip, you're not missing out. Like, then you've made a great stride. You're going to India. So if you do the best you can to get to at least one of them, then just count your blessings on what you're able to do. I know it might feel a little disappointing, like, oh, I didn't get to do the whole thing, but maybe your goal is next year you do the whole thing. And we have, knock on wood, have been going on these trips consistently every year since I've been with the organization. That's 17 years. So I'm pretty sure there'll be one next year. You never know with Baba though. So yeah, just count your blessings on being able to go on any of them. But if you can go on both, then by all means, go for it. Yeah, and any other questions? Oh, in terms of eating, and some people asked about shots. That's totally up to you. You can consult your doctor or whoever and ask what shots you should get. I did get them in the very beginning, and now I don't get them anymore. I've been there so many times. I'm pretty much acclimated to the country, but they're and plus I think I have shots that still are lasting. So you definitely want to find out what's best for you and take that course of action. The malaria pills or shots, I've heard can cause some weird effects. So again, that's really up to you. Just make sure you wear mosquito spray, because there are a lot of mosquitoes in India and they're very vicious. they are fierce. So that is a concern, just a lot of mosquito bites. And then for the getting sick, you want to make sure that you just bring your own medication, anti-diarrhea, anti-constipation. You want to cover both directions. Anti-nausea, all of those type of pills, that anything kind of what could go wrong, you want to cover, and just bring it with you, because there is medication in India. We just have to go get it, and we often do have our own supply, but if you have yours, that's even better, because there's a lot of people on the trip, and if we run out, then we have to go find some more. But do not eat food from a street vendor. Do not get tea or food from anywhere outside of the hotels. We bring you to hotels that we trust, that we know have cleanliness standards that meet international needs. And so we feel confident that where we're bringing you is safe. But if you go outside of that, we can't help you. And we don't recommend that you do that. So just stay smart. Even if we take a pit stop on a bus to take a bathroom break, don't go to the local tea shop and get a glass of tea. That water may not have been boiled. You don't know where it came from. You don't know what kind of bacteria is in. They probably reused that cup they're putting it in. The milk is probably not pasteurized. So there are different standards of cleanliness in India, as you will find out, and you want to be safe for what you're putting in your body, because getting sick on a new trip is no fun. Of course, it still happens even at our hotels, and you just never know when there's going to be some bug that hits you the wrong way. And you can take it as a cleansing experience, but you want to avoid that at all cost. Any other questions? Oh, good. Question about access to water. We provide you with bottled water as much as you need for the entire trip. And you never want to put tap water in your mouth, even when you're brushing your teeth, unless of course you're Indian. But so you get a bottle, we will give you extra bottles of water, and you'll use one for brushing your teeth. You can wash in it. Obviously you'll take a bath or shower. You want to, when you're showering, you want to keep your mouth closed and try to keep it out of your ears and eyes and nose and mouth. Yeah, you'll have plenty of water. You don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about is how much you drink and if we're on a bus, right? So you need to monitor. We typically say like, okay, we're getting on this bus. It's a 10-hour ride. We're going to make our next pit stop in about 3 hours. So you don't want to be the only one on the bus making it stop, right? So you just want to keep with the group mentality is very important. And we tend to be okay as long as everyone's in group mentality and not all about me. Can we get online at each hotel? Most of them, but not all of them. In Chennai, yes, you're at a city hotel. That's going to be fine. Rameshwaram, no. maybe it's kind of iffy, but pretty much say, like, count out Rameshwaram. It's very small island. We're at the best hotel on the island. And when I was there last, they didn't, they had some really spotty internet, if at all. So there was really no way to do any work. I tried. There was no way to do any work in Rameshwaram. Then we go to Kumbakonam, and there is internet, but it's only in certain locations. If you're lucky to get it in your room, okay, but then you'll have to sit in like I think the dining area has it, and then the reception area has it. So again, just being creative and having to go where you need to go in Kumbakonam. Arunachala, I believe they had internet. They had, oh yeah, they do. They have good internet, or decent internet. So yeah. Is it mandatory to wear Indian clothes? At temples, yes, we ask that you wear Indian clothes. And again, that is to give respect to that location. Outside of going on a temple, no, you don't need to. If we're just on the bus for the day, wear whatever, wear clothes. Again, we want to be conservative. You should not wear anything low cut as women. No shorts. But you can have short sleeves, have a decent, whatever this is called, line, and long pants or long skirt. And then for men, no shorts. You can wear a t-shirt and any kind of pants for men. And women too. A t-shirt and pants is fine. You want to, Indians are not used to seeing form-fitted clothes on women. So you can wear that, but know that you'll be drawing attention to yourself. And we would rather not draw attention to yourself or the group. So please be conservative with what you wear. It's okay to bring laptops or tablets, yes. And as I mentioned, there is some internet access, so you'll be able to communicate at home. Can we wear capri leggings or only? Yeah, you can wear capris. So for women, if you're, just the bottom of your leg is, and by bottom, I mean from mid-calf to your ankle is showing, that's fine, but not above that. And you definitely don't want to show your knee. So I hope I'm making this clear. India is amazing, but we want to respect the culture. And it's not about restricting your self-expression. It's about respecting where we're going. And the culture there, and especially in the South, in Delhi or other big cities that are more international and more westernized, people wear a lot of different things. But in the South, it is still this very preserved culture of this ancient times, and they are still conservative, and we want to respect that. I love being able to respect their culture. You want to wear, again, for women, ideally, it's not sleeveless. It's definitely not spaghetti straps, okay? And if you have to wear sleeveless, then at least it can be only your arm showing. But do not wear tank tops. Do not wear anything low cut. Do not wear anything really form-fitted. That goes for tops or bottoms. And that means you can wear any type of, t-shirt and pants or long skirt. Yes, totally fine to show your feet. Thank you for asking. Basically, anything from here down is okay to show, and anything from your ankle to your foot is okay to show, and your neck is fine. I guess the irony is you'll see Indian women wearing saris where their whole stomach is showing, and that seems to be fine. But yeah, so you want to wear sandals. Probably nothing really nice that you want to keep looking nice, because you're going to be in and out of temple. Your feet are going to get very dirty, and slip-on is the best, because sometimes we'll actually leave them on the bus and then walk to the temple and then get back on, or sometimes we'll leave them at the temple themselves and grab our sandals as we get back in. I tend to bring a decent pair of used sandals so that if I have to leave them there, I'm totally fine with that. So nothing you're too attached to. Any other questions? Nothing else? So I hope this has been really helpful for you. You can still ask questions while I'm wrapping up, just in case you have any. I hope that this has been helpful for you, and we are here for any additional questions, so you should write into office@pillaicenter.com and ask us. Definitely read through the sales page that is here so that you can get really clear, on anything else you may have questions about. Notice that there are things to download on the page. You have, if you scroll all the way down, there's a packing list, and then there's a travel visa information. Download those and read them, okay? And there are some testimonials on the page you can take a look at. Obviously, it's a magical experience, and if you're able to go, then do it. Take the bull by the horns and make it happen this year. I am feeling a connection in the temples. Do we have to leave right away? No, typically we give you time to spend in the temples. It also depends on how many, what we're doing. Like if we have a set of temples to hit before they close. Temples close their doors, I think, is between 1 and 4 in the afternoon every day. So we have to be able to move with the group. So you want to be in tune with the group mentality. So sometimes we do need to move right away, but other times we're able to spend extra time there. Okay, any other questions? Okay, and then once you do register, we will put you inside of the private Facebook group, and then you can ask amongst yourselves if you would like to room together, and then just let us know. So if you find someone you like, then you'll at least have not a complete stranger with you. And we again, if you have a desire to do a nadi reading, then let us know, because we do need to arrange for that. That costs more. It's just not that much. I forget how much it is, but the reading itself in person, incredible. And then you tack on another day or two after whichever trip you're attending to do your personal remedies. There are temples that have been designated for you in the nadi reading of temples that you need to go to. We'll send you there. I did both, the proxy remedy after getting a nadi trip or nadi reading, and then the personal nadi remedies. And that was my first trip with Dr. Pillai. In fact, he was supposed to go on the trip and then didn't, because he was given information that he wasn't supposed to. So all of us went, and it was still one of my favorite trips. Even though he physically wasn't present, he was present. And I left that trip, I got home, got fired from my job. I got a little dejected, but I knew I had faith that it was going to be fine. 6 weeks later, I made almost double my salary with a new job. My life just blew open and changed immensely. Nadi remedies are really incredible if you're able to do that as well. You're welcome. Okay, good. Looks like we're all clear. Then I'll go ahead and conclude this. Thank you for attending, and I hope that you will make the journey to India, and that India is calling you in and then providing you with the opportunities you need to make it happen. And if there are any other questions, do let us know. Namaste.